Hello and welcome to Camping Chair Reviews with me, Rhys Garrard. Today we're going to be giving a review of the Insta360 GO 3S. I've been using this thing now for about 2 months and I feel like I'm pretty positioned to give a genuinely honest review on how good this thing is in the field. I've used it every single day for nearly 60 days now, and there's a lot of good, there's also a bit of bad too. Let's jump into it. This is my first ever Insta360 product ever. I've seen Insta360 around for many years now, and I've actually been an avid GoPro user. I say avid, the last GoPro I bought was actually the Hero 7 Black, considered in my mind one of the best GoPros ever made. It served me for many years, so it took a big leap to jump into a new brand, but also something so brand new. I actually bought this thing when it had been out for about 3 days. That isn't me, I buy second-hand tech normally, but this looked like something a bit different. Obviously you've got the main housing, it comes in the actual action pod, and then you've got the little camera itself which separates and sits as a standalone camera. This thing is really why I bought it. This has got a battery life of up to 45 minutes, and my experience is that holds true. I mean, it really is a long battery life. I can take this out for a day walk without the action pod, and to be honest, if I'm just filming shorts, I'm not getting through that battery life. It's a long time of filming, and I'm normally filming in 4K too. The resolution from the camera is phenomenal, and to be fair, pretty unrivaled by a lot of other cameras this size. In fact, I haven't seen any. The next thing I like about the actual camera itself is the audio quality. The audio quality on this camera is pretty phenomenal. If you're out shooting in windy conditions, this thing does a really good job of actually capturing your voice. I've got a lot of clips of me using this on the mountains, etc. And as I said, that audio is pretty clear. When it's back in its action housing, you can of course switch between a lot of different settings on the main screen, and this actually operates very similar to a GoPro. Similar to a GoPro, but probably just a little bit better as well, and having that functionality of being able to pop out that camera so easily by far made this a much better choice for me. Now, one of the main reasons a lot of people are going to buy this camera is because of the POV View. Now, when you buy the Insta360 GO 3S, what you're going to get with it, one of these magnetic necklaces. You can pop this thing around your neck, you sort of stick it behind a t-shirt. I'm going to show you how well this works because it will work through a down jacket too. And you can actually pop that camera, pop it onto the magnets, and it will just sit anywhere. You can obviously adjust that necklace, you can pop it higher, you can pop it lower, and to have that POV view is absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. I think the real magic of the Insta360 GO 3S is the fact that it's all basically done by magnets. That's what gives you these insane POV views, but it also gives you some pretty crazy accessories you can use too. I've not really experimented with them, but the magnets are so strong. I've jumped off, I've got an inflatable water park, and I've jumped off the top of one of the towers with this on, with the necklace, and you are not concerned about it coming off. Yeah, if you were to get into maybe a bit of a big crash, maybe you were to hit something a bit too close, it will come off. But the chances of it are pretty slim because these magnets are so phenomenally strong. Especially if you're going through something thin like a t-shirt, it just isn't going to come off. The thicker and thicker you go, obviously those magnets are going to get weaker and weaker, and there's going to be a limit. But for me, I've not found the limit so far, and it definitely isn't a limitation of this camera by any means. Now, those are some of the things I love about this camera. Now, another positive I want to jump into, and this is a little bit different to some of the other reviews I've seen around, because in my opinion, it's unbelievably important. We live in a day and age where software is absolutely everything, and Insta360 has nailed it. In comparison to companies like DJI, in comparison to companies like GoPro, the Insta360 app works pretty flawlessly with this device. I can connect within a matter of seconds. I'm straight through into editing. I can edit all those videos straight off and export them within a matter of seconds too. I've made full videos within the space of 2 or 3 minutes, and that's exactly what we want in this fast-paced world. GoPro, their app lags behind. You've got to pay for it, you know, especially the premium version now. Whereas Insta360 don't offer quite as many features, but it's free and it works. And for me, something that's just free, it just works, it comes with the product, is absolutely everything. I was blown away by the software. As I said, maybe that's me. Maybe because I don't generally buy newer devices, I'm a bit behind with what software can be like. But in my personal opinion, Insta360, for an app that's free, that is currently subscription free too, and just bish bash bosh, get those videos off, get them edited, get them straight into your album. I think it's just amazing how well that works. I want to move on to some of the negatives, because they do exist. You should be aware of them before you buy them, because, well, they're quite major, some of them. Some of them quite minor, some quite major, and I think some of it might be down to user error, but I'm a user, you're a user too, and maybe that means that it's not as easy to use as it first comes across. Now, number one is because this thing operates entirely by magnets, and I work in the outdoors. I run an outdoor company, and obviously I'm in dirt, I'm in muck, I'm in soil, I'm in all that sort of thing. And obviously within the ground is little bits of metal. And I have found over the last couple of months, there's little bits of metal. I'll see if I can show them to the camera. Actually get caught up inside the Insta360 housing. And I've not quite figured out how I'm sort of gonna remove them yet. I've got like little cotton buds and things, and I can have a play around, but those magnets are so strong, those little bits of metal are pretty sort of stuck inside the housing. And in the last 2 months, it's built up quite significantly. So I'm wondering, within 2 years, is it going to affect the magnetism? Probably not. Does it affect the look of the housing and how clean your device is? Yeah, it does a bit. And I don't really want those bits of metal getting sort of stuck in the inner components of the camera too. So it's an interesting one. Now, second one for me is the way this camera works is by, at least when it's on its own anyway, is by pressing down the front, you get a nice little beep. There you go, beeps, a little bit delayed, but you learn to live with it. Delayed by a couple of seconds, and then it records. Now, because it's pressure sensitive, again, I press in, fantastic, it stops recording. What it does mean is when you've got this thing in your pocket, if I've got it in my like rucksack pocket, or I've been swimming, so I've had it in like my swim shorts and stuff, if your legs press up against it, it does just start recording. And it's a little bit annoying. You will come back to this thing quite a lot, especially when it's on its own, and you'll find you have these recordings that are like 15, 20 minutes long, basically until it's run out of memory or run out of battery, and it's just downright annoying. I wish there was a way to sort of disable it or stop it. Maybe even like a little switch or something would just do. But yeah, it is annoying, especially when you're out. I mean, I was coming back from a meal the other night, and I'd had it just to record the boat journey on the way there, and as we're coming back, I felt this thing in my pocket that was getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and this had been recording for like 25 minutes just on its own as a standalone device in 4K, which, yeah, it's gonna get really, really hot. And it did, and I turned it off, but it took a fair amount of time for it to cool back down, and I also had to delete that clip and then recharge the device later on too. So that is pretty annoying about it. My last woe is probably on durability. Now, I've not bought a case for any of this. There's no protectors on it, there's no screen protectors, nothing like that. I'm very much of the mind that when you're buying sort of rugged outdoor kit, or especially adventure cameras as well, is a lot of the glass and the protection on it should hold its own. And so far, it's been relatively okay, is what I would say, but I am edging towards getting protection for it before the damage becomes noticeable in shots. So far, I've got one scratch on the actual lens itself, which I'd love to know how it happened, because I do take great care of the camera, but it probably happened within the first week while I was messing around with it. And it's because that lens is so protruded, it comes out so far, and it means that that glass is very, very exposed. It isn't noticeable in shots, thankfully, but it may be an issue in the future. So yeah, a nice little screen protector, a nice little circle one is probably going to prevent that a little bit more from happening. And the other thing is the actual action pod screen itself. I don't really use the action pod, I've got to be honest. You will buy this camera and you probably aren't going to use the action pod, because if you're buying it for functionality, you're buying it for that individual camera. And again, the actual screen for me on the back, it's got a handful of scratches, a handful of marks. It will benefit from having a screen protector on it. As I said, I like to try and use my kit properly, and I kind of hate this idea that, you know, things aren't meant to, everything needs to be, you know, looked after ridiculously well. Things should be built to last, and they should be built to be sort of battered and used as well. And the Go 3S, in my opinion, is definitely nearly there. but it could probably benefit from a couple of upgrades. I would also probably buy the black one as well next time, because again, this actual white housing is very, very pretty, and I bought the white because it was just the only one available at the time, but that black is probably going to give you sort of greater protection from having actual marks on the housing, or visible marks anyway. So that's my personal opinion on this camera. Overall, I absolutely love it, and I don't regret buying it at all. I wouldn't swap it for anything else, but it definitely has its limitations. It has the things that are going to annoy you, and those things are unique too. They're unique because there really aren't cameras that are kind of built like this. It's a very unique idea, so I absolutely love and adore this camera so much. But yeah, you know, you are going to face those different problems that you've probably not had before if you owned something like a GoPro. Anyway, that is my review. Bottom line, love it. I think it's fantastic. It's expensive. It's about £350. That's what I pay for mine, I think. You can get them a little bit cheaper. You can get them a little bit more expensive. Depends who you buy them from. But you're between that sort of like 300 and 400 bracket from what I've seen. And there's a big difference between the Go 3 and the Go 3S2, which is what this is. The 3S shoots in 4K. The 3 doesn't. I bought the one that shoots in 4K because I thought that's bloody cool. Would get the Go 3S, shoot in 4K, enjoy those beautiful, beautiful videos, and yeah, just enjoy your camera, get out there. But as an action camera, I would say it's probably one of the best in the world right now. Grab it, enjoy it. I will see you in the next blue camping chair review video thing. Anyway, bye!